Hi, I'd like to talk a little bit about networked systems. This is a complex idea, but I think it's very useful for a lot of different things, including how to think about the brain and how to think about creativity. A lot of what we do is a function of these networked systems. And by a network system, think of a family. A family is a networked system. You are a member of this family, and you have pretty close ties to each member of your immediate family. So you create one network system there that has fairly close ties. Another family has a similar network of close ties to each other. If you are friends with a member of this family, then you create a loose tie to that family. You sort of have access to information about this family B over here, and family B has information about your family A over here. That then becomes a networked system. And part of the power of that is that your family and whatever the connections you have and the information you're access to suddenly got stronger and bigger because you at least have the possibility of accessing this other family and their ideas and their thoughts and their connections and the people that they know and so on. And the more you put together these networks where there are loose ties, as they call them, to all of these different networks of connected people, that really expands your range of possibilities in terms of what you can do, who you know. We talk about the extended mind. Your own mind, your own brain is pretty remarkable in terms of what it can do. But what makes the human mind even more remarkable is that we are social animals, and we have figured out how to communicate through body language, through symbols, through language, and can actually take our minds and extend them out into the world. We can share our mind with people remote distances from us, and we can tap the resources of their mind as well. So there's this vast extended mind of linked networks. Now, what happens when we have a new idea? Imagine these networks in your brain, because that's part of the point. That's basically the way the brain operates, is when you have an idea, the idea doesn't exist as an entity in your brain. What it is an activation of a certain combination and a certain sequence of neuronal and glial cells firing. So you get this sort of pattern of activity that represents a thought or an idea. When you trigger these whole networks, there are networks that are sensitive. There are these patterns of neurons that are sensitive to a particular idea, and they will all fire at the same time when a new idea, or when you trigger an old idea. If you have a new idea that suddenly comes in and there's a pattern, what happens is that the brain has to figure out, does this new idea fit into any of the existing networks that I have? Does it make sense in the way, if it's a new fact about the Civil War, for example, does this make sense in terms of what I understand about the Civil War? And your brain is actually trying to figure out how to make those connections. When it does make that connection, it gets linked up with a strong tie to one network, but it also makes all those other connections so that if you have that thought again, it'll trigger the whole relationship, the whole network system. It's a very powerful idea, hard to understand, but it applies to lots of different things that we will talk about, and I think you'll find that it applies to a lot of things that you're learning and experiencing.